What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is basically a follow-up video to my bumper install that I did a few days ago. If you haven't seen that, I will put a link up above you. It'll also be down below in the information section if you wanted to see the install of the front bumper here. And what it is, it's the Nfab M-RDS pre-runner style that we put on my 2020 Platinum here. In that video, I covered the removal of the factory bumper, the installation of the new bumper, and also how to get the parking sensors out of the factory bumper to install on this. Now, this bumper did not come with a spot for the parking sensors, so in this video I'm going to cover the light install, how we mounted the light bar, the light pods. As you see, I'm running the rigid Radiance with the blue backlighting, love it. And also, so I'll cover how we mounted everything, how we ran the wiring, what switches we used, and then I will show you what I did to get the parking sensors in the mesh pieces here, so that way we didn't lose the ability to use those parking sensors. All right, so let's jump right into it. We're going to start by showing you the relays, and then we'll get into the lighting and the wiring. All right, let's start by showing you where we put the relay harnesses. So you can see I have two relay harnesses right here, one for the rigid pods, one for the bumper bar. All right, and off of each relay harness, which we'll go into more detail about these relay harnesses when we talk about the switches, but off of each relay harness, there's 3 wiring bundles. One bundle goes to the battery, just got 2 wires coming out of it, the black and red, positive, negative. Obviously the red is the positive with the inline fuse in it. The second bundle right here, this goes into the truck. As you can see, I have it run down through the firewall into the truck. That's going to go to your switch. And then this third bundle here, this of course goes to the lights. The second relay switch back here, same exact thing, 3 bundles coming off of it. So let me show you how we tapped into the lights, and then we'll talk about the switches. All right, so let me start by showing you how I mounted the pods and the light bar, and then we'll go over the wiring and the relay harnesses and all that good stuff. So the pods themselves, I did not use the mount that came with the rigid Radiance pods. I just couldn't get the pods to sit the way I wanted them to sit. I didn't like the way they were angled and how it was working. So I got these universal brackets. You can see one here, off of Amazon. I will put the links down below in the video description. I will put the links for everything down there. The mounts, the relay harnesses, everything that we've used. I'll put all of the links down below so you guys can have access to them if you wanted to do it in a similar way. So what I did was I got these universal mounts, and what they, as you can see, what they do is they clamp around the bar of the bumper, and you tighten them down. There's a screw back here, a screw here. They clamp onto the bumper, so that way they're rock solid, they're not going anywhere. There's a rubber gasket that goes underneath so they don't scratch the bumper itself, and then you secure the rigid pods to the bottom, I'm sorry, the flat part down here. Now the good part about these are they're completely adjustable. So what I mean by that is you can turn these any which way. You can flip it so this flat part is out here farther if you wanted your pods to stick out a little bit more. So between this bracket and the bracket that came with the rigids, I was able to get these pods exactly how I wanted them, you know, just the right distance apart, just flushed in a tiny bit from the bumper itself. I'm very happy with how they're sitting right now. It's exactly how I wanted them to look, and I couldn't have done that without these brackets here. So if you're interested in doing this, definitely look at these. I think they were only like 15 bucks maybe for the set of 2. So I had to get 2 sets, of course, because I'm running 4 pods, but in my opinion, well worth it. Made mounting these lights super easy. So, all right, that's how we have the pods mounted. So let me show you the light bar itself, and then we'll get into the wiring. All right, so let's talk about the light bar itself in the middle. It's a 42-inch bar. It is the absolute biggest light bar you can squeeze in the middle opening of this bumper. The mounts that came with the light bar themselves, they look like this. They were absolutely not going to work. Not for how I wanted this bar to sit in there anyway. Again, can't say it enough, I'm super anal with this truck. I drive myself crazy just making things. I just know how I want it to look, and I'm going to do whatever I can to get it that way. So what I ended up having to do was I had to fabricate the mounts that came with the light bar to make them work. So it wasn't hard once I figured it out, but I'll show you what I did. So this is what the mounts look like when they come with the bar. All right, so all I did was I cut this lower portion off, and here's a piece that I cut off so you can see what I'm talking about. So I cut that off so it was flush. So in other words, both sides now look like flat, like this. All right, so once I had that piece removed, all I did was, this is the hole that was already there. I popped it through the back. There's a hole, there's a gap in the bumper over here that allows you to access the side of the light bar to secure it. So I took the mount that I cut off, slid it through here, secured it to the side of the light bar like you normally would, and then what I did was, once I had the bar exactly where I wanted it and lined up properly, you can see here's the mount that I cut right there. So all I did was, once I had that secured to the bar and where I wanted it, I lined it up, I drilled a hole through. So if you're looking at it, this is the part that's secured to the bar. It would be sitting in there like this. I drilled a hole back here, right where you see this bolt coming through, and then I drilled a hole in the bumper. I just lined it up just very carefully, and then I ran a bolt through the bumper, through the hole in the mount that I drilled, and then put a nut on the back and secured it that way. I don't know if you can see the nut, but the nut is actually right there where my fingertip is, but it's kind of like recessed in there. You can't really see it good. I will take a couple pictures and put them on the screen for you. The only other thing I did was, because of the way the bar is kind of angled, there was a gap between the bumper and the mount. So all I did was I took a plastic spacer, and the size of this is, it's an M8 spacer, and the size is a 20.5 millimeter. I cut it right in half, used half on this side, half on the other side, and it was a perfect size to fit right in this gap in between the mount and the bumper. All right, so that's how I secured the light bar. Worked perfectly. The bar is exactly where I want it. It's nice and secure. I have the camera on the bumper, so I don't want to shake it too hard, but as you can see, I'll try to secure the camera. The mount's not going anywhere. That bar is nice and secure. All right, so that was the only way I can get this thing to work. I tried different mounting systems. I actually wasted some money on a couple different, quote-unquote universal mounts. They just weren't going to work. So again, to get this 42-inch bar to sit exactly how I wanted it, I had to just kind of go to the drawing board and just completely fabricate this. I do have a locking washer on the outside out here with the bolt, just so you know. All right, so that's how we secured the light bar. So let's talk about the wiring, the relay harnesses. I'll show you that, and then we'll talk about the switches. Okay, so to wire up the light bar, very simple. So from one of the relay harnesses coming down, whichever one you're using for the light bar, all you're gonna do is, the wiring bundle right here coming down from the relay has a red and a black on it. The light bar has a red and a black coming from it. Very simple, red to red, black to black. I like to use those waterproof butt connectors that you got. If you guys watch my videos, you know that's pretty much all I use for my wiring connections. And then I just have some heat shrink tubing over it that has adhesive in it, so it's nice and secure, waterproof, weatherproof, never have to worry about it. That's all you got to do to connect the light bar to the relay. The pods are a little bit different just because there's 3 wires coming off of the back of the pods instead of just a red and a black. So let me show you what I did there. Okay, so to wire up the rigid Radiance pods, here's what I did. There are different ways that you can do this because of that radiant backlighting on these pods. If you're not familiar with them, they actually have like a backlighting that you can get in different colors. Mine are blue, and then the fog light itself, you can control them independently. You can control the backlighting with one switch and the actual fog light itself with another switch. What I wanted to do was, I wanted to be able to control that blue backlighting on mine with the factory fog switch. So let me show you what I did. On the back of these pods, there's actually 3 wires coming off the back, and I'll throw a picture up on the screen in case you can't see this well. I know there's a lot of glare with the sun. I apologize, so I'll throw a picture up on the screen. But coming out of the back of the pods, there's a white, a black, and a red, and you see 2 sets, of course, because I have 2 pods on each side. So the white wire is actually for that backlighting. So what I did was, I wanted to be able to turn that backlighting on when I turned my fog switch on, my factory switch. So I took my factory wiring, and this is the plug that you would plug into your factory fog lights. So I, as you can see, obviously cut it off. The blue is the positive, the white is your ground. So all I did was cut it off the truck, as you can see up here, and I took that white wiring. I have 2 white wires here, 1 from each pod, connected those white wires here out on one side of the butt connector, ran a single wire out the other side of the butt connector, and connected it to the blue wire that I cut off there. The ground, the white wire up here that I cut, I actually like hooked it up in this tubing here, made sure it was electrical taped, you know, nice and secure, so it, you know, I don't have to worry about it getting wet or anything. So now anytime I turn my factory fog light switch on, that blue lighting will come on. The red and the black coming from the light pods, they are going to go to your other wiring harness. Now again, this is only if you want to wire it up like this, so where you can control the radiant light with your fog light switch. There's different ways you can wire this part, the fog lights, up. So I'm just showing you what I did and how mine actually works. So, alright, so the red and the black coming from the light pods, again, I just connected the two black, one from each pod, to the black wire coming down from the other relay, the second relay. So it's the same thing coming down from the other relay. You have a red and a black. This is actually a dual lead relay harness, and what that means is, as you can see, this part's coming down from the relay harness. It splits off. It has a red and a black that splits off, and then it continues over to go to the other fog light. Just a red and a black. All right. So all you do is you take the black from your two rigids, your two light pods, connect it to the black coming from the relay. Take your two reds from your light pods, connect it to the red. Do the same exact thing on the other side, and I did the same exact thing with the fog lights on the other side as well. But on the passenger side, this was the driver's side. You can see it's blue and white. On the passenger side, it was pink and white. The pink was your positive, the white was your ground. So all I did was connect into the pink, taped off the white, and again, now anytime I turn my factory fog light switch on, that blue radiant backlighting comes on. Love it. So that's just how I wanted to wire it. There are lots of ways you can do this if you wanted to wire it to a separate switch for that backlighting, whatever you wanted to do. Again, I just wanted to show you what I did and let you know that you can tap into your factory fogs if you wanted to do it that way. So that's the wiring underneath here. Super simple. White is for your backlighting. Red and black go to positive and ground on the relay harness. So I'm going to get this all buttoned back up. I'll show you the switches. Once I get the bumper back on, all I do is I take all the wiring. I left myself enough wiring down underneath here, so when I take the bumper off like this, I don't have to worry about stressing any of the wiring. So what I do is, once I get the bumper back up on the truck and get the bolts back on and get it secured, I take all the wiring, I zip tie it. Actually, when it's on there, I zip tie it to this back tubing. You can't see it once the bumper's on there. I do that before I then attach the skid plate. So if I ever want to take the bumper off, all I do is cut the zip ties, the wire hangs down, I can take the bumper off like you see here, and I don't have to worry about stressing any wiring. Alright, so I'm going to get the bumper secured back on the truck, and we'll go up and I'll show you how we ran the wiring to the switches. Alright guys, so as you can see, the bumper is back on the truck, and you can see the wiring is secured with zip ties to that back bar on the bumper. It's out of the way, nice and secure, and you can't see it. Once you get that skid plate back on, you won't be able to see that wiring at all. Alright, so let's show you how we wired up the relay harnesses to the back of the switches. The relay harnesses that I purchased, which will be linked down below the video, they do come with switches, but I didn't like them. One was a rocker panel, one was just like a little red circle switch. I didn't like them, so I decided to go with custom switches by ch4x4.com or ch4x4.com. They make switches that fit in our Tundras like their factory. So as you can see, I custom designed this one. It says rigid pods. That's obviously for the pods. And then bumper bar, I have that one saying bumper bar. That's for the bar on it right in the middle of the bumper, obviously. So let me show you how you wire up these switches to the relay harnesses. So the wiring that comes with the switches is going to look like this. There's two of them, obviously, because I have two switches. So it has 4 wires coming off the back. Green, 2 reds in the middle, and black. Now, I have 2 different wiring harnesses, 2 different brand names, I should say, 2 different relay harnesses. And the reason I did that was simply because when I purchased them, I wanted to get this project done, and both companies only had 1 left in stock. So I had to get 2 different brands. No difference in, I have no preference and no difference in what they do. They're both good relay harnesses, not a big deal. The only reason I'm pointing that out is because the wiring on 2 different relay harnesses, the coloring is different. So I'm going to show you what you have to do. So I'm going to put the links down below to the harnesses that I'm using, the relay harnesses. If you go with the Nylite relay harness that I have linked below, you're going to have 3 wires that come to the switch: black, red, and white. So let me show you what you have to do. The green is going to go to the red wire that's coming off, and again, this is just for the nylite relay harness. The green coming off the switch is going to go to the red coming off of the relay harness. The black is going to go to the black on the relay harness. So again, black from switch, black to relay harness. The two reds, the red that is closest to the green, that's going to be your accessory wire, and that's going to go to the white wire that's coming off of the nylite relay harness. So red closest to the green goes to the white wire on the nylite relay harness. The other red wire, the red wire that's closest to the black up here, that is for the backlighting. So what I did there, and again, I'm going to show you, I have two switches, so mine may look a little different than yours if you're only running one switch. So what I did was that red wire closest to the black for your backlighting, I took both switches and I linked, as you can see, red by the black and red by the black. I took those and hooked them together right here just to save myself a step. And then out the other end, I just have one single wire. This is going into an ATA fuse, and I have that tapped into my taillight fuse up underneath my dash. So anytime I turn my parking lights on or my headlights on, the backlighting on the switches will come on. All right. So that's how you would wire the back of the switch to the nylite relay harness. Now, if you go with the other brand, it's called McTuning relay harness. That's the other brand that I have. I'll show you where the 4 wires go to that one. So off of the McTuning relay harness, you're going to have a blue, white, and black. This is very important. So the white is going to be your positive. So you would connect your green from your switch to your white wire over here coming off of your McTuning harness. The black would go to black, and then the blue is actually your accessory. So the red wire that's closest to the green, your accessory, would go to the blue wire on the McTuning harness. All right. So, and then again, the red closest to the black, I already showed you that, goes for the backlighting. So that's how you're going to wire up the switches to your relay harnesses, depending on what brand you go with. Just wanted to point out those differences because of the coloring of the wiring. So, all right. And then I just have to clean all this up. I just have the wiring ran through the firewall. I have it ran up underneath the dash, and then I popped it underneath this panel here, and I have it underneath this area here. It's just going to plug into the back of the switches. That's super simple. I won't waste your time showing you that, but that's how I ran the wiring into the truck. And again, that's how you connect these type of switches to those relay harnesses that we're using. So here's a quick look at everything buttoned up. All the wiring is zip tied and hidden underneath this panel itself. So I just wanted to show you how those switches look. As you can see, they fit in this spot. They look factory. They fit perfectly. The panel that I'm using to put the switches in here, it's made by a gentleman named Nick McCartney from CN Design. I'll put a picture of his Facebook page up on the screen here for you. If you're interested in this panel, contact him directly. His Facebook page has his email on there. You can send him a message, and he makes these switch panels specifically for our Tundras. And as you can see, it fits in that little spot perfectly. So he did an awesome job with it. He does make it in different colors. I actually painted mine black once I got it. And he also makes it so you can have the screws. It makes it look like it kind of matches the AJT design products that you see, which anybody who owns a Tundra, I'm sure you're familiar with them. Everybody and their brother who owns a Tundra, I feel like, has these AJT products in the interior. So just wanted to give you a quick look at how they sit there and how they line up. And you know, again, they look factory. So let me show you the parking sensor install and how I modified the mesh pieces for that, and we'll wrap up the video. All right, so once you have the sensor off of the truck, very simple to do. So you're just going to want to take and decide where you want to mount the parking sensor. I'm going to mount mine on the outside corner. This is the driver's side panel, so it's going to go out here on the outside corner. That's where I want it. You can mount it really anywhere you want. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find the middle of this mesh opening here, and if you count the rows, it's going to be, I'm going to come over 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 holes from the outside edge, and then just kind of find the middle you know, vertically. And then all I'm going to do, because there's already holes here, you could actually use one of them holes almost as like a pilot hole. So I'm going to take a 5/16 drill bit and I'm going to make my first hole here, again by using the hole that's already there in the mesh as a pilot. All right, so once we have that done, we're going to then take a step drill or Christmas tree bit, whatever you want to call it. And this is very important. This is the most important step. You want to go to 7/8 of an inch. So if you have a bit, this is actually the deepest part of this is 7/8, so it's perfect. So I'm going to use this to go right through, and it's going to be a perfect hole, a perfect spot for that parking sensor. This is very important though. If you go too big, the sensor will obviously go right through the hole. 7/8 is the perfect size, and I'll show you after we're done how it just kind of fits right in there nice and secure. Okay, so there you can see we have the 7/8 hole drilled perfectly. You'd be looking at it like that. So it's going to be on the outside edge. I'm going to turn it over and just kind of clean up. You might have to just kind of clean up the metal on the back. Comes off pretty easily. Alright, so now that we have 7/8 inch hole, parking sensor, just kind of wiggle it through there. And as you can see, it's literally just about the perfect size for that sensor. It snaps right in, nice and secure, not going anywhere. And I'll show you the back side so you can see, snaps right in. 7/8 is the perfect size hole for these sensors. So now you can just connect your harness and run it back up inside the truck. So here's an up close view of what I've done. So you can see I trimmed off right there on the mesh sensor. I'm sorry, the mesh side piece. Sensors are mounted right there in the corners. They work perfectly. The wiring harness is right up underneath there. You can't miss the plug up underneath there. So that's what we've done. And as you can see, I taped off the black mesh part. That is black, just like it came from Nfab. And then I painted the surround MGM to match the truck. Hit it with a little 2K clear. And I love the way it looks. So other side, same thing. Of course, trimmed it off right there. Parking sensor in the corner. Mesh is black. Painted MGM to match the truck. All right, guys, there you have it. There's the install of the light bar, the light pods, the relay harnesses, the switches, the parking sensors, everything from A to Z that I've done with this bumper to get it to work on this truck the way that I wanted it to. So, all right, as always, I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for all the support. Stay tuned. We're coming up on that 2,000 subscriber giveaway. It's right around the corner, so make sure you hit that like button, pass the channel around, spread the word a little bit, and I think you guys are going to love the giveaway that I have planned for the 2,000 subscriber benchmark. All right, so as always, appreciate you watching. Leave any questions, comments, concerns down below. We'll get them addressed, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care.